Court has handed down more verdicts in connection with last year's deadly football riot in Port Said, and nobody seems satisfied. In Cairo, 2 protesters were killed in clashes with police who fired tear gas. In Port Said itself, people aren't sure how to feel. Reza Sayah takes us through the day of unrest, starting just ahead of the verdict announcements.
We are probably just moments away from the football riot verdict that could trigger an explosion of anger here in Port Said. Lots of suspense right now as we wait for the verdict that's just moments away. The verdict has been delivered, and we saw an incredible roller coaster of emotions here. First off, outrage. That's because 21 defendants who had earlier been sentenced to death, the judge in this trial confirmed those death sentences. That triggered howls and screams of grief and anguish, and then a remarkable shift in emotions. That's because the remaining defendants, several were acquitted, others received prison sentences, no death sentences, and that sparked a mini celebration among some of the people watching. Several hours have passed since the verdict, and now what we're seeing are thousands of people who gathered here at the city's port, continuing to protest the verdicts that they didn't like, continuing to protest against President Morsi and his government. They've been setting fire to tires here, but things still relatively calm here. You get the sense that a lot of people here just don't know how to react. They like some of the verdicts, they don't like the other verdicts, and maybe that's why you see a lot of people just standing around and watching. In the meantime, in Cairo, more contrasting emotions. Remember, all the victims of last year's football riot were fans of a top Cairo football club. They wanted justice. They wanted guilty verdicts for all the defendants. They were pleased that there were 21 death sentences, but they didn't like the fact that only 2 police officials received prison sentences and 24 defendants were acquitted. Their anger turned into violence, where some of the football fans set fire to the local police club as well as the offices of the Football Federation. All of this is taking place against the backdrop of a deepening political crisis that's putting this country's young revolution in jeopardy. And many Egyptians here are losing hope for a better economy and a better way of life, and pressure is mounting on President Morsi and his government to do something. Reza Sayah, CNN, Port Said.